So we've already talked about two ways to graph a quadratic. Today will be the third way to graph a quadratic, and I would always graph a quadratic based off of what's given to me. So for instance, this one is going to be called vertex form, and some of you are going to think this is the easiest way, and I think it's the easiest way, according to what's given to me. So a quadratic in vertex form is going to look something like this. Y equals some number times x plus or minus a number squared plus or minus another number. So the number inside the parenthesis with the h and the number out here, these are going to tell us our vertex. This number, again, just like in the other two forms, is going to tell us if this parabola opens wide, narrow, up, or down. So that number A, the constant that comes in front of the parentheses, is going to tell us a lot. So we're just going to kind of jump right into this and graph some parabolas. Let's start with one that looks like this. Y equals 2 parenthesis x plus 3 squared plus 4. So this parabola tells me that I'm going to have a vertex at -3, so it's the opposite of what's inside here, just like with absolute value, and +4, and it's going to open upward, and it's going to be narrow because this number is bigger than 1. So this is a lot like what we did with absolute value functions. So if I graphed this, the graph is going to start the opposite of whatever this number is and the same as whatever this number is. So I'm going to go 3 to the left and 4 up, and this is where the vertex will be. From this particular point, I'm going to treat this as if it was the parent function. So the parent function would normally go over 1, up 1, over 2, up 4, because it's a quadratic, but this time it's going to go over 1, up 2 times that amount. And instead of over 2, up 4, it's going to go up 4 times 2, so it's going to go up 8. So on the other side, I'm going to go over 1, up 2, over 2, up 8. So that parabola is going to look like this. Now, let's think about why this actually happens this way. If I were to take this function and multiply it out, it would look like this. And I'm going to multiply these two together first just because it'll be easier for me. That goes to x squared plus 3x plus 3x, which is 6x plus 9 plus 4. So 2x squared plus 12x plus 18 plus 4. So 2x squared plus 12x plus 22. So you can see by going back and using standard form, if I did the opposite of b over 2a, I would get negative 12 over 4, which is -3. So you can see how the vertex is going to be at -3, and then whatever you get when you go put -3 back into this function, and you would get 4. So it's just another way you'll get the same answers as if you turned all these into standard form, but to me this is a much quicker way to graph. If it's already in vertex form, this tells us our vertex, this tells us how we're going to move from that vertex point. So then on this one I could say the axis of symmetry would be a vertical line going through x equals -3. All right, let's do another one. Now that we kind of have an idea of what this looks like. Let's graph y equals negative x plus 5 squared plus 2. So I know this is in vertex form because it's something squared here. I know it's a quadratic in vertex form. These two numbers are going to tell me my vertex. So when I graph, this is always the opposite, so I'm going to go 5 to the left and 2 up. So there's the vertex. Now, from that point, I'm going to move however this coefficient is. And so this is a -1, so it's going to be just like the parent function. I'm going to go over 1, down 1 on each side, over 2, down 4, and I could go over 3, down 9, over 4, down 16. It could keep moving like this. So this is going to be the parent function basically turned upside down. And then my axis of symmetry is going to be the line that goes through my vertex. And since my vertex is -5, 2, the axis of symmetry is going to be x equals -5. We'll do a couple more vertex problems here. Let's do y equals -3 parenthesis x minus 1 squared minus 2. So these two numbers are going to tell me my vertex. This is the opposite sign, so it's going to be 1 to the right and 2 down. So that's where I'll start my vertex. 1 to the right and 2 down. And now this tells me that it's going to be narrow and open downward. So instead of over 1, down 1, I'm going to go over 1, down 3. Over 1, down 3. And then instead of over 2, down 4, I'm going to go over 2, down 4 times 3. So I'd be all the way down there at 12. So since my vertex is at 1, -2, the axis of symmetry is going to be at x equals 1. So the vertex is always the opposite of this number and keep the sign of this number.